Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Showseph. As always, I'm your host with the most of Joseph. This week, a very special topic. We are talking about how to be funny, how to make people laugh, how to have some fun, how to be silly, how to be just a fun guy. This is a serious topic we're talking about. We're diving deep into all of that this week. You might be wondering, what do you have to teach me about how to be funny? You're not funny. Hey, there we go. We got that out of the way. Yeah, I've done stand-up comedy. I've made sketches. I do podcasts. I do this. This might not be that funny, but it's sometimes can be. Sometimes there's some bits thrown around. So that's what we're going to be talking about. This is going to be a step-by-step guide that you can use that will make you 100% funnier, guaranteed. If whatever you want to impress your friends, impress your parents, impress your classmates, watching this will help you become the funny person in your life. Let's first talk about what is funny, what it makes things funny. What is funny to you? You got to think about that real deep and hard. What are the things that you say that make you laugh in real life in conversations? What are the things that you watch that make you laugh? What are the things that you exhibit in real life that are entertaining to you? Like for me, probably the funniest things I've ever seen have been prank calls. I love prank call. I love watching prank calls on YouTube. I love watching people do it in real life because it's so I can't even get through them myself. I've thought about it from time to time, getting into doing more prank calls, but I just can't get through them. It's too much fun, too funny. I can't stop laughing. It's impossible for me to stop laughing in front of them. But that's hard to translate on a stand-up comedy stage. So obviously I don't do prank calls when doing stand-up comedy or making videos, but there's other things that I find funny too. But those are it's so fucking funny. If you do any prank calls, please send me links to them. I'm gonna watch them all. I promise. This is what my promise to you. If you want to make me laugh, that's what you got to do. But you got to think about it. You got to think about what sort of things do you find funny. You need to determine the area, the space that you are going to be attempting comedy in, whether it's a stand-up comedy stage, but then within that, what sort of audience are you performing in front of? Are they going to be responsive to more of this style of joke or this style of joke? Whatever it is, people can find things funny. I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't find funny. I don't really care about that. I'm telling you, you need to figure out what you find funny, and then whatever the appropriate audience is, what are they going to find funny? And if you don't think they're going to find you or the things you have to say funny, then just don't say them. Don't put yourselves in that situation. Like I'm not funny like probably 90% of the time. Like most of the day I'm not funny. I'm walking around, people are always like, "Oh, do you do comedy? You should be funny right now." I'm like, I don't want to be funny right now, because if I say things that I think are funny, it's not going to appeal to the people who I'm surrounded by. And that's not a dig on them. You shouldn't be mad at someone else for not finding the same things you find funny. It's just you got to know your appropriate time and place. If you like if you're like a Nick Fuentes guy and you laugh at his videos, and then you go into the office and you say the things that you see him say on stream, like what do you expect is going to happen? This is the thing a lot of people are getting into now because of the reaches of comedy, the reaches of stand-up comedy. Comedians, they all have these giant careers now. They're touring, they have Netflix specials, they have movies, they have podcasts, they have clips, they have social media. There's so much comedy out there. And then they're also competing with like a dentist office that makes like a funny sketch for an Instagram or a TikTok, or like a restaurant where it's like an old lady with like an accent doing a little skit. And that's what the people are competing with. So in my eyes, to me, anything of that can be funny. I don't think it's kept to just stand-up comedy clips or stand-up comedians podcast clips. Those are the only sources of funny or entertainment. Anything can be funny. Most people are funny. And probably everybody is funny. They're funny in their own way, though. Like I used to work at an office where there was the popular person at the office was always joking, always making people laugh. It wasn't for me. I wasn't like into that. I was like, let me just come in, do my shit. I'm not really looking for relationships. But other people who are looking for that, they figure out what are the things that my coworkers, my superiors would find funny or find interest in, and let me see if I can work my way into that, make them laugh, make them enjoy being around me. So this is what I mean about audience and about right place, right time, figuring out. She's never making like offensive jokes. She's not doing like, Dave Chappelle, whatever, Eddie Murphy, saying things that would get her fired. She's saying things that would be funny for the people in the moment. And if that's what you want to do, if you just want to be funnier in the moment in your work life or in your relationships or with your friendships, you need to figure out, one, is it comfortable for me to say these types of things in front of these types of people? And then two, how can I say them? Work on your timing, work on entering conversation, communication skills. It's a tough thing I've experienced, and I'm sure a lot of people do, is where do you enter the conversation? If the moment has passed, do I still say this thing that I thought of when someone else said it, or do I say it? Do I just move on? And, I think doing podcast conversations like that, for me, especially because we do comedy podcasts and comedy conversations, it kind of helps me get into the state of having comedic conversation, long form conversation with people who I have relationships with. But it's not translated the same if you are outside of that space. If you are in a professional space or with a religious circle, more conservative circle, more liberal circle, you need to be able to dictate, what am I going to say here, and figure out truly, like, do I want to be funny right now? And is it more important for me to be funny in this conversation, or to be funny to myself, what I think is funny in this conversation that could potentially get me in trouble or get me fired or get me, strain my relationship with this person, to sacrifice for saying this joke that I think is funny? For me, I've had like a lot of strained relationships, so like due to not knowing that space and that the line of comedy being drawn. I've had friendships that have gotten interrupted due to my perception of my desire to be the funny guy all the time. I've said things. I had this friend, I said some crude jokes in front of a girlfriend of his. She was not appreciative of that. She was very upset by that. A lot of my comments, I was a very, disrespectful young man. And then that strained my relationship with this guy, because now his girlfriend feels a way about me, and she obviously has more influence over him than I do, because she gives him pussy and I don't do that. And so her opinion of me obviously is going to shift his opinion of me, because now I'm saying things that I think are funny that is affecting his relationship. That's not going to abide. And also, I think they're broken up now, so I don't even know. Like, it's been a long time, but like, come on, man. Don't let comedy ruin your relationships. I think that's the key to this one. You need to know your space, know the people who are around you, and then know what you think is really funny. Like, you need to figure that out, how to fit myself into the situation to make sure that my funny thing is coming across on top of someone else's funny thing. If you have friends, if you watch, listen to podcasts like Matt and Shane's or like Come Town or these big podcasts, and you listen to how friends talk to each other and they interject or they talk over each other or they rip on each other without actually being mean. These are all fun things that you can do with your friends, but you need to learn how to do that with it to actually be funny. This is, I think, the problem a lot of people do is they say, oh, if I'm just super offensive, then that equates to funny. That's not always the case. You can say offensive things that are funny, but if you're just saying something offensive just to be offensive, that's not going to be funny. And the other is true is that the opposite can also be true, where you're saying things that are, more PC or not offensive, and you think that, oh, because people, this is acceptable, this is fun, this is funny, people like this, people are telling me this is so good, but that might not be funny. It might just be appropriate. Doesn't mean that it's funny. So the metric you should be looking at to see if people think something is funny is if people are laughing at it. That's the key metric. This is something a lot of people don't interpret. You need to make sure that people are laughing. That's the biggest key. If you're not doing that, then you're not being funny. So ultimately, look, I think I got the message across. I think you understand what I'm saying that by now. You need to identify what's funny to you. What sort of funny do I want to be? Identify your audience. Who am I saying this to? How is this going to affect the people in this circle? How is this going to affect their perception of me? How am I going to be affected by this? And then delivery. How am I going to say this? Do I interject? Do I say it in a rude way? Do I say it in a mean way? Do I say it in a friendly way? Do I, say it and then be, oh, I'm just kidding? Whatever. You got to figure out how you want to say that, what your timing is going to be. And then, review. I guess it makes sure people laughed at it. Because if they didn't, you're just the weird guy who's saying things that don't really make any sense. And then, that people don't want to be around you. Whenever you're hanging with a guy who just is constantly bombing conversations, you're like, man, it's so fucking hard to get through conversations with this guy. He's trying to be funny, but like he's just not saying things that are funny. And he just says things and he pauses waiting for everyone to laugh and applaud him. And it's just fucking painful to sit through. It's like he just at least like admit like, you bombed or something. You can't just like drop out like a dud in a conversation and then fucking like expect everyone to like be applauding you. Like if you have that sort of confidence that like everything you're saying is going to be like a fucking banger and you're going to hit every time, like, dude, you got to fucking take a look at yourself and think about it and like reevaluate or something. Watch some comedy specials and decide, do I really want to be saying this right now? Like it's hard to get through conversations with people like that. But look, what do I know? I've no comedy career. I make videos on the internet. I make sketches. I do these. And I don't even know if people find anything I make funny. But you could, maybe I'm that guy. Maybe I'm the guy who drops the dud and is has no self-reflection of it. But people like what I do. So I don't really care. Thanks for watching this one. I hope you figure out how to be funny. Leave a comment down below. Tell me your biggest joke, your biggest laugh or something. Tell me a story about the biggest laugh you've had, and if you want, I can read them on the next episode, whatever. This has been an episode of the Showseph. Subscribe, check out the Paradizo channel, check out the BOIZ channel, do whatever else I have in the description, and I will see you next week. Big peace.